Well, hello everyone. This is Lawrence. My voice is a little hoarse. I'm getting over a little head cold. Excuse me. And we had an airplane flying over. Just getting around to making another video. I want to show off some more thrift store CD finds, and if you could check out my other videos of CD finds, but this one is exclusively CD music jazz finds, jazz music. And so I selected about 15 of them to show off. And again, if you adjust the speed to the YouTube, you could speed up this video and shave about 8 minutes off of it without me sounding like Alvin and Chipmunks. Okay, I love jazz. I collect a lot of jazz music on vinyl, on CD, wherever I can find it. And I got a lot on CD and my vinyl collection as well. Okay, these are more recent jazz finds, and I'm going to show them off. The first one, and I'm going to pronounce his name like it's spelled Erroll, Erroll Gardner. Okay, I probably butchered the name, but this is from the Verb Jazz Series 7. Okay, Mr. Gardner is a very prominent figure in the area of piano jazz. He was an American jazz pianist, composer known for his swing playing and ballads. His instrumental ballad Misty is his best known composition. It has become a jazz standard. The first recording of Misty was with the Mitch Miller and his orchestra, played prominently in the 1971 motion picture Play Misty for Me. Okay. Gardner has been called a brilliant virtuoso. I pronounced that name correctly. I probably did not. Someone who is brilliant at what they do. Gardner has received a Hollywood Walk of Fame, and his live album "Concert by the Sea" sold. Released in 1955, sold 1 million copies by 1958, and that's outstanding for a jazz album. And that album made such an impression that he's considered immortal from then on. Okay, so Errol Gardner, and this is a 15 track selection. And what's so nice, this is on the famous jazz label Verb, and what's so nice is you get these booklets with the collection. Now, this booklet, of course, contains all the tracks, who played on them, which is very important, especially in jazz, because jazz players played on each other's records a lot, and your jazz scholars would like to know that information when they go and listen to a CD. These recordings were all done in 1954, 55, 54 again, so that era, and it has New York, and it looks like Chicago, and New York. Okay. When all these were recorded. So it has recording dates, the places where they were recorded, on what album, and of course, what's wonderful, you get the bio write-up on the artist. Okay, take a quick break, and I go on to the next artist. Okay, the next artist is piano jazz musician. Let me get my information straight. Okay, Oscar Peterson, Oscar Peterson, born 1925, died 2007. And forgot to mention Earl Gardner. He died in the like 1977, and he died pretty young, 54. But Peterson stayed with us quite a long time. He's from Canada. He's considered a virtuoso jazz pianist and composer, considered one of the great jazz pianists of all time. Uh, he has released more than 200 recordings, won 7 Grammy Awards, and a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Recording Academy. And he has played thousands of concerts worldwide in a career lasting more than 60 years. He was called the Maharaja of the keyboard by Duke Ellington, which is a pretty big compliment. As I was showing the Gardner CD of the Jazz Master Series by Verb, well, I had this in my collection. It's the only. I thought I had another Oscar Peterson in my collection as well, and it's in there somewhere. It got misplaced, but I do have the Jazz Masters 17, okay, in the collection. And these recent finds right here are add-ons. The Oscar Peterson. I don't know why I keep saying Peterson. A trio. Sanford Shakespearean Festival, and doesn't have recording dates in the listings, but probably in the write-up. Okay, and oh, look at that. That is cool. The trio, and you got the write-up, and this is on the Verb label. The ultimate Oscar Peterson selections by Ray Brown. This is a collection put together by another jazz musician, Ray Brown, and of course it has the standard listings and write-ups about his work, his life, and little write-ups about each piece. Okay. And this is put out by Mercury Records, the Compact Jazz Oscar Peterson, right there. And the booklet, really more skippy here. Not much, no write-up, except a little bit on the back. And like I said, I got 2 more of his CDs floating around here somewhere. But with this one and these 3, that just really adds nicely to the collection. Okay, we're back with the 3rd CD, 3rd jazz musician, and of course we're into the great jazz. My cat's yelling at me. Jazz pianists of all time, like the Mount Rushmore, okay, and Earl Gardner, always mess up the names. Oscar Peterson, now another great jazz pianist we all know about, and that's Dave Brubeck. Okay, and these are the CDs I have by him. And of course, I got albums as well. This is part of the Ken Burns jazz series that came out about 23 years ago. This is his most famous work, this album right here, Time Out. This release contains pieces that have different time signatures, than what's normally used. And of course, it has the big instrumental hit "Time Out" that has just remained a classic all these years. And this was actually the follow-up album, the Future Out, and this got good reviews as well. Um, I was lucky enough. Here's my recent thrift store find of Dave. This 2 CD collection of his work put out by Columbia Records, and we opened it up. This came out. What year did this come out? 1995. Sony Music, part of the Legacy collection, and of course it has a nice booklet, a little on the thin. No, not really. Of all the credits, the selections, who played on what year, blah blah blah. Um, Pictures, text, and we have 11 tracks on disc 1 and 17 on disc 2. And keep in mind, that is a lot because since jazz is an instrumental art form, the tracks are always longer than on popular, 3, 4, 5 minute music. Okay. Jazz instrumentals can run quite long. So have that many on here is good. And one other thing. I'm want to get this guy's name right. Take 5. Yeah, Paul Desmond, a famous alto sax, and he's very prominent on Dave's work, especially on Take 5. You can hear that quite well, and he was a great jazz alto saxophone player in his own right. So Dave was an American jazz pianist, often regarded as a forefront of cool jazz. Okay, look that up. I'm not going into it. His work is characterized by time signatures and superimposing contrasting rhythms, meters, and tonalites, whatever that means. He was born in Concord, California, and he was drafted into the Army. And he would play, get into the bands in the Army and all that. And when he got out, he established a career in jazz. And of course, Take 5, the great instrumental, and I'll put a link to that piece. It was the first jazz recording to sell 1 million copies, and he made the cover of Time magazine when that came out. And the story goes is Duke Ellington delivered the copy of Time magazine to Dave Brubeck, and Dave looked kind of puzzled, and Duke said, "What's wrong?" And Dave said, "Well, you know what? I would rather deliver the Time magazine to you with you on the cover." So he was very modest and felt that the Duke deserved that honor. Okay, so we'll hit pause and we'll go on to the next selection. Okay, we're back with another CD by a great jazz artist, and we're getting out of the piano jazz, except I forgot to show this one on Dave Brubeck, and this is on the Telek Jazz series, and a later recording by Dave Brubeck with his musicians live at the Blue Note. I forgot, this is later Dave Brubeck had, I don't know what year this was recorded, 1994 release, so that time period. Okay. The next artist is Charles Mingus. Mingus, M-I-N. I have a tendency to call it Mingus. Born 1922, died 1979, was a jazz upright bassist, piano composer, band leader, and author, a major proponent of collective improvisation. He is considered to be one of the greatest jazz musicians and composers in history, with a career spanning 3 decades and collaborations with artists such as Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, and Herbie Hancock. Okay, so quite a resume there. And I'm getting all these bios off of Wikipedia, just to let you know. Okay, he has released 3 albums that are considered just jazz classics, and I'll show you them, which I already had in the collection. If you can read that there, pretty cool, Picasso type of artwork. And then his masterpiece, the Black Saint and the Sinner Lady, right there. And it looks like he's lighting up a pipe. This is just mind-blowing. And then the 2 I got most recently, if I can find them now. Okay, I just got one here. Mingus. This is was released in the mid '60s. A great picture of him, and it's when I listen to this, it kind of sounds like a film noir soundtrack. It has that film noir music vibe to it. Okay, so that's great, and I'm trying to find the one that's missing. So when I hit pause, I will come across it. Oh, here it is. And this is just a collection of his work right here. Charles Mingus, this is Jazz 6. And this is on the Columbia Legacy label. Okay. And of course, it has all the great liner notes inside with all the information, who played on what, where, and a brief bio. Okay, the next artist is Sonny Rollins, born 1930, an American jazz tenor saxophonist who is widely recognized as one of the most important and influential jazz musicians. In a 7-decade career, he has recorded over 60 albums as a leader, and a number of his compositions, St. Thomas, Old Poxy, Petter Up House, have become jazz standards. Let's see. Rollins had been called the greatest living improviser and the saxophone colossus. Colossus. Okay, so his resume is very impressive. And prior to that, I only had one Sonny Rollins CD. This one right here. Okay, and this was released on the Fantasy label and recorded in New York, June 11, 12, and 1957. Okay, then my most recent find is Sonny Rollins Blue Note 80911 right here. And these recordings were done December 16th, 1956 at the Van Gardner Studios. So it only has one recording date, so they knocked these um, 5 tracks out in that one session. And of course, it has the usual liner notes and who played on what. Great picture there. Okay. So, Sonny Rollins. Okay, I'm back. We're going to round out here. Just to let you know, my wife is home now, and she's downstairs watching TV. So, you may hear a little bit of the TV in the background. So, just to let you know. Sonny Rollins, one thing I forgot to mention about him, the previous artist I spotlight, uh, he played on 2 songs that became popular top 10 hits, or one of them, I think, top 20, and the other one went into top 10 on Billboard's single chart. Um, Sonny Rollins played on the Rolling Stones' Waiting for a Friend, that was from their Tattoo You album. Okay, that he does a great solo on that song, and I think that was kind of like a top 20 hit for the Stones. Okay, didn't go in the top 10, but it should have. And he played on Bill Withers' last big hit, "Just the Two of Us." Okay, a sax solo there. Uh, to round this out, another great um, jazz musician, the tenor saxophonist, is Stan Getz. And these are the CDs I already had by him. Put on my reading glasses. The very best of Stan Getz. This is still in shrink wrap. I haven't opened it yet. Um, Stan Getz and Kenny Barron. Um, this these were recordings he did toward the end of his life. I forgot which country. I think Sweden, and it has the nice booklet inside. It's a 2 CD set, and even toward the end of his life, he sounded great. He had lost nothing. Um, just a little bit about Stan Getz. Well, he was a American jazz saxophonist, play primarily the tenor sax. Getz was known for his the sound was known as the sound because of his warm lyrical tone and his prime influence being the whimsy mellow timbre of his idol Lester Young. Okay. Coming to prominence in the late 1940s and with Woody Herman's big band, Getz is described by critics as one of the all-time great tenor saxophonists. Getz performed in bebop, cool jazz, and was helped with the development of something called bossa nova that was popular in the early 60s, especially with the girl from Ipanema. And, oh, here's another one of his CDs with guitarist Charlie Bird. Very cool artwork there. And the one I have added to the collection is actually collaboration effort. Stan Getz and Oscar Peterson trio. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, we're up on 24 minutes and 25 almost. I wanted to show those great jazz recordings off. You didn't know I'm reading from Wikipedia because I don't have an academic knowledge of jazz. You know, I just like listening to it and reading a little bit about each great artist. I encourage you to go and finish reading the Wikipedia pages and go to whatever streaming service you have, or seek out some of these CDs and start listening to jazz. It's really a cool art form that has uniquely American with, African, Caribbean roots that all filtered into New Orleans, and it is developed into something great. Um, my brother, I tried to get him into jazz, and he's very resistant to it. And to get someone into jazz, there's just not one group that's a doorway. It's just so diverse. If you're getting somebody into rock and roll, you play some of the early rock and roll, Little Richards and Chuck Berry, and eventually the Beatles, the Doors, blah blah blah. But jazz is a little bit different. You can't just play one artist or one era and say that's jazz. It's a art form that has many variations, and develop very um, distinctively in wide areas. So um, that's all I got to say. So I can go ahead and put these CDs in the collection, and I hope to do another video soon, maybe even tomorrow. Who knows? And if you want me to do more jazz, because I got more jazz CDs to show off, I will. Please leave your comments, your suggestions, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.